Hey guys and gals, look what it's Tuesday. I just want to tell you because it always never seems to fail. Right before I go live every Tuesday, I swear that some Google engineer is sitting by his computer, their computer, doesn't have to be a man, and goes invalidate his session. Go ahead and make him log back in. So I'm over here going, ooh, pulling out my phone and trying to get my authenticator app. It's like, ooh, and then I apologize. I'm over. Anyway, it's always the thing. Anyway, so I got my uniform on. I got the hat on. It's a Tuesday, and this is the Two Guys Tech Homelab Hour. I am your intrepid host, your dedicated host, Rich Tessel. Thank you guys for joining me. I was watching the chat. I see that Jason is melting. Jason, we are also melting here in the Pacific Northwest. Today was a balmy 97. Tomorrow is supposed to be, I think it's supposed to be maybe triple digits. And we're starting to get smoke because there's some pretty bad fires raging in Eastern Oregon and in Idaho and in, what's that place? You know, all these states, basically any state that has trees, apparently the trees are on fire. The trees are on fire. Anyway, so I feel you, man. I feel you. And who else we got in the chat? We got Anti-Tux. Thank you for being here. Unleashed Dave. Unleash the Dave. Changed his name. So now it's Unleash the Dave. I appreciate that. And yeah, so, and I know that like Dave's in Canada, but I do know that they were having some pretty bad fires in Canada that were also blowing in and affecting others in, like in the New York region on the East Coast, which is unheard of for them. They typically don't get like smoky, nasty weather where it's like going outside will make you die. That's, I'm being a little hyperbolic, but you get the point. Anyway, it's, this is episode 23 and, we'll do the housekeeping that I always like to do. So this live show is really about hanging out with the community, and talking about Homelab, talking about, the news, the tech news and stuff like that. I got some pretty interesting articles to talk about this time. Talk about the things that I'm doing as part of the YouTube stuff. So if you see a video that you like or you want to ask questions about, then just throw them in there. And after the live show, we go hang out in the Two Guys Tech or the 2GT Discord and have kind of we'll call it the after hours, where we all just hang out and kind of talk over each other. It's a good time and it's free to all. So you don't even have to talk. You could just hop in there and just mute yourself and just hang with a bunch of nerds, talk about their days and what's going on. It's enjoyable. Last but not least, I do like to say that 2GT also known as Brandon, is behind the scenes producing this wonderful live show that you see here and all of the accoutrement that comes with it. So if this show is good, it's because of Brandon. If it's terrible, it's because of me. It's because of the talent. I was going to show you guys the thing and I didn't bring it, but personal story stuff, because I like to start these off with personal story. I think the only thing I'll really say is I'm going to be headed to Black Hat and DEF CON this year. And so if you are there, try to find me. I'll bring the hat. Not that I'm not there to do anything on behalf of the channel or anything. I'm there in a professional capacity, but I love meeting people, and I've had some really great conversations with really smart people at different conferences that I've happened to bump into. So if you're there, by all means, seek me out. I'm looking forward to DEF CON especially because this year I am diving into badge life hardcore. So if you don't know what badge life is, it's basically all these really cool technology badges that makers create. And I got one that's like it's got a Bluetooth beacon, and you have to look for other people like you, I guess, and who also bought them. And so it's going to be interesting. Anyway, yes, let's talk about what's going on in the Homelab. Before we get to the cool stuff and I named this episode. I thought I was being real clever. What did I name this thing? I named it Eating Up My Rack Space. Eaton, get it? Come on. This comedy is free. You didn't have to pay anything for it. Anyway, before we get to the Eaton stuff, because I do want to talk about that and show that off a little bit, because I think it's pretty cool. I want to show you this thing that Brandon found, or this piece of software, because I think it's really fantastic. Oh, look at that. I didn't have the chat on live chat, and now I can see everything. Some random dude is in here too. That's fantastic. Yeah, so Brandon turned me on to this open source project called Bezel. 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 You can run it as a Docker container, and you can run it as a fat binary install on Linux, Windows. Basically, choose your flavor of operating system, and it's kind of a two-parter. It is basically there's a collector, a hub, if you will, that you interact with from the web, and then there's the agents that you install. So in a way, it's similar to other monitoring systems like you get with like NetData or something like this, but this one is totally free. And I threw it together after Brandon was talking to me about it because it gives you really fantastic monitoring of your hardware and the software that you're running as well. Like if you run it in a Docker container, you're going to get like all this deep detail about your Docker instances that are running and all. It's really fantastic. And it's funny because Dave just said was looking for a NetData replacement. Yeah, I wouldn't say that this is a apples to apples NetData replacement. This is more of if you're looking for less lift and easier life, and also I like NetData. I run NetData, in fact, on a lot of stuff. But my hang up with NetData is that they really, really want to push you into their NetData cloud. And as a self-hoster, I really firmly lean on the whole, I want to run it myself end to end. And you can do that. You can run NetData locally and then just go to the local instance. But if you want to collect a bunch of aggregate different servers and VMs and whatnot, go to their cloud. So anyway, check out bezel.dev. Let me show you what it looks like a little bit here because I've got it kind of running here just to kind of show you. And very lightweight. After you've added a few systems on here, I've got 3 systems to show you right now. I've got my Mac, which is right meow in front of me. I've got my Plex VM to show you that. And then the Proxinator, my actual PVE host, physical host. So I've got different OSs and different deployment methodologies, right? If you will. So if we look at we'll just take a look at the Mac here. You get a really nice graphical dashboard of, broken down by different hour, minute, 12 hour, 24 hours, 1 week, 30 days, whatever you want to do with it, right? The thing that I really liked about it here is that it will show you GPU usage. And for those of you who are transcoding or doing AI stuff, and you want to just keep track of how much you're utilizing your GPUs, you can do it. And by the way, it supports right now. This is on my Mac, right? And so this is the embedded M5 GPU CPU combo magic that's in this machine. It's not an NVIDIA card. I will show you one of those in a second here too. So, because I'm running Docker desktop on this Mac, it shows me the Docker containers are also running. So you can see all these things. This is where I test my MikroTik manager. And there's obviously a little bit of an OpenAI stack there, or an AI stack as well. So you get this information and details, and you can click on these things, and you get logs and details about that kind of stuff, which is super useful. You get also, you can look at the CPU usage here, for example. I think this is beautiful. It's completely ridiculous because there's so many cores on a modern computer, but it's a stacking graph, right? So it stacks all your CPUs, but it looks like some sort of cross-cut striation of a piece of earth or strata. And you can go through there and look at your utilization and your CPU time breakdown. Then again, it'll do one after another, the actual physical cores. And so far, as well as Docker memory usage, disk IO, let me switch to, the pretty colors, man. The pretty colors is where it's at. This is my Plex VM, right? So I ran a transcode on my Plex box just to see how that would look, right? Because I've got a pass-through PCI Express pass-through NVIDIA GPU here. And it's a Quattro P5000. And so you can see this is when I kicked off a transcode of a piece of media. And so, you can keep track of these things. And then because this is a Linux box here, and this was the FAT agent or the binary agent install, I see all of the processes there, the daemons that are running on the box. And of course you can click on these and you can see systemd information. It's nice. It really has an amazing amount of detail. And I spun it up. Frankly, I spun it up in 10 minutes before the show, right? It was that quick, and deployed to 3 different agents. And so one of those things that if you are looking for a more lightweight There's also, I mean, if a piece of hardware has a problem, it'll send you an email. It'll send you a webhook to Discord, whatever you want to do. It's not going to give you a uptime Kuma approach. So if you're like looking to, I want to make sure that this web server answers or something like that. It doesn't do those things to my knowledge. So, but I'm going to adopt it because I need a better monitoring system, and net data is too much. It's like, what did, I think it was Jason said in the chat, net data is too much for what I need. That is a perfect response for it. So this is a physical host now. So we'll take a look at this Linux. This is my Proxenator. So this is the Linux box. Gives you a little bit of information, uptime stuff. CPU usage again. Let's see what this looks like. It's more of a compact kind of Earth station than, because there's a lot. This box is an Epic, right? So it's got CPU core. CPU cores for days, friends. But you get load averages, bandwidth. You can see good bandwidth information too, like download, upload, cumulative movement. Just great, fantastic stuff. It's not properly showing me my drives, and I suspect, and also Brandon suspects, that I need to actually reboot this box. But due to the fact that it is my one and only virtual host running all of my services, I think that'll wait for a maintenance window. Anyway, check it out. Again, if you want to do it, you can run. I mean, the beauty of a Docker container, friends, is you just spin it up, and if you don't like it, you throw it away. You don't have to worry about it. So there you go, bezel.dev. All right, moving on. Let's talk about Eaton up my rack space. So let's back up a little bit, because there's nothing bad here, by the way. No drama. Unlike last time where I showed you effectively the step down transformer had kind of broken in half, so to speak. Anyway, so I ended up deciding, based on the drama that I was having with that M1 network management card for the Eaton, to buy an M2. It arrived, and it was brand new. It's right here on the right. I don't know if you can see that. Enhance. So now I'll just drag this over a little bit so it looks like you can see them a little bit better. So the guy on the left here, which feels like it should be more technical because it has multiple ports on it, is the MS. I'm sorry, not the M1, but the MS card, which, fun fact, the reason why that was a no-go is because you can't reset the password unless you specifically, because it was a used unit. So who knows what the password was set to. Can't reset the password, can't reset the network configuration on it unless you have a special serial cable that goes in this spot right here. So that was a real bummer. But, solved that problem. $90 later from eBay to my door. A couple days later, I had the Network M2. So I did want to take some time and show you what this user interface looks like because I'm a nerd and I want to show you how this actually manifests. But also, as a person that had come from Schneider APC almost exclusively up until this point, I was really quite interested to see what their user interface looks like. So this is my session expired. That's what this is. We're going to go ahead and log in. What do you say? Logging in's where it's at. Okay. Come on, Speedy. There we go. So this is, we'll enhance this a little bit for the viewing eyes of everybody. Hopefully that's more visible. This is the landing page of that network management card for my Eaton 9PX, right? These management cards work in basically every Eaton that can physically fit them. So there's not like a special proprietary network interface or management interface for your Eaton system. So it reads and comes through. But right up front, you get a nice little diagram that shows you what's going on. And what we can see here is like power is flowing from the outside straight in. And I'm used to my battery status. You can see I bring in 137 volts on one leg, 138 volts on another leg, and comes out, or sorry, I can't believe I said that. 237 volts, 238 volts on the side. Math is hard. And it comes out as 240 volts, on the other side. So looks good. You get at the top, you get how much I'm using. 1.4 kilowatts. That's what, 1.4, 1.5. That's where I'm at right now, which is a little quiet because I don't have my 4-node running. And it estimates about 16 minutes of battery runtime. And no error. So let's go to the meters here. Again, very, very unlike APC, because APC's got a much different way. I mean, they're all different, right? Every company's going to make their own like GUI approach to these systems. But I'll have to say that this is Dave doesn't like the GUI. Dave says I need to write a new GUI. I'll be honest with you. The first time I opened it, I was kind of in the same boat as you, Dave. I was like, it's not as sexy as I'd like. Like, what do I need sexy for? Honestly, in a power, like an infrastructure power system, right? Come on, like we're talking, its only job is to make sure that the electrons flow, but it needs dark mode. There you go. That's true. You could probably build yourself one pretty easy, but anyway, so you get you get your mains utility, your output, and your second utility. You get all that kind of details because again, this is 240 volt for me. So there's two legs to this circuit. Get your voltage frequencies on all those. Battery information. These are sealed lead acid batteries, PBACs, and tells you what the voltage is, the state. They're resting. Friends, my batteries are resting. Rest now, battery, for someday you will be called to battle. And it shows you their detail and whatnot. So, and you can run a test from here. See the last test, pending test information. And then you get logs if you want to look at them. But controls. Obviously, you want to be able to put it in bypass or turn it off or turn it on. Here's how you do so. If I was to press this button right now, this live stream would end. Protection gives you details, scheduling shutdowns, agents. You can, I'm 99% sure that this has Eaton has a very similar platform to, APC's distributed backup, power backup, and like shutdown sequence stuff. So you can connect agents to it and do all that kind of stuff. I don't have any agents, and my power outage policy is to turn off immediately and turn back on. Anyway, lastly, we get some card details here. There you go. There's all the information about the card. Serial number. It is located in the quote Jeff unquote rack, and I am the owner. Good times. But I'm happy with it. I couldn't be happier with this overall. I think it's exactly what I need, and I'm glad to be done with it. Leaving it at that, assuming that, and I'm taking some flack from the from the chat here. Shadow saying 20 minutes runtime are rookie numbers. Okay, all right. I don't, I can't put more. I mean, I could put more in this. I could put another battery shelf, but man, I just need enough time to run downstairs and tell the two systems, literally two, the Proxmox approximator and my TrueNAS box to shut down. That's it. So what can I say? He says he gets an hour. Okay, well, if we're measuring batteries here, Shadow, at this point. Anyway, let's move on because I did want to talk about the new transformer. So it arrived, and it arrived last Saturday, and it arrived in, thankfully, one piece. This is the photo. I posted this on the socials earlier this week, but this is the photo that the FedEx ground guy took. And while it to you may look like an unassuming giant box, I see the pain and torment of a poor FedEx delivery driver, because this thing was 150 pounds and there was only one FedEx driver in that truck. He may have had a dolly, or he might have just sherped that thing on his back and walked it to my doorstep. It was so heavy that I had to cartwheel it end over end over end from my front door around to the front of the house into my garage and then unpack it, because I'm not a weightlifter. I'm an average build kind of guy. There's no way I could have just picked that thing up without blowing an O-ring, and I was not going to blow an O-ring for that. Yeah. Some random dude said, not all heroes wear capes, some deliver packages. Hell yeah. That's all I got to say to that. It's funny. The step down transformer is dramatically heavier than the actual UPS itself, with said batteries installed. It is appreciably heavier. So let's take a look at it. I want to show you it installed because I think that's the best way to do it. So here it is, taking up a svelte 6 U's out of my cabinet, which is fine. It's hard to see here, but down here on the bottom left, the guy in the bottom here is the step down transformer. On the right side behind this plastic bit there's just a 120 millimeter fan for ventilation, right? On the left side is a big old switch, like I would say you would find on a big power panel in a building demarc. And it's got a 208 and a 240 volt setting. It came set to 208. I changed it to 240 because that's what I'm running. I did wonder to myself, what would happen if I had not made that change? Would it have decided to go prompt critical and explode, or would there be safety measures in there that would stop that? Not sure. But it went in easy. They didn't send me rails, and thankfully I was smart enough to keep the brand new rails out of the crushed unit that did make it, and no elevator. Here it is at a better shot. So this is the bottom of the rack. You'll notice there's a 4U hole atop there, and that is for the AI server, which that video will be out very soon. Very excited about all that. And so I've got spacing there for that. And above there is that 36 bay storage system that I've got. But let's take a look around the back. On top here is clearly the UPS. You've got that big 120 mil fan, the new management card as it's plugged in there. And I wish I could just easily scroll here, but scrolling is hard. The top 30 amp L630 twist lock right there, that is the PDU power plug. And the one below here is the pigtail for the step down transformer. So step down transformer at the bottom here has a ton of, NEMA 515 plugs. I'm NEMA 520s too, because there's these will do 20 amp as well. That's what the little horizontal plug there's on the face there, like an enhanced, right? So this has allowed me to do the thing that I was doing, but doing the wrong way. So I was telling somebody that all of the devices, all of the little IoT, all the little junk devices I've got, even the lights in the front of the server cabinet, they have switching power supplies that are capable of 110 to 240 volt. That's just everything comes that way. Their manufacturers are only making one single power supply, right? They're not making one for every region for for North America and then the rest of the world. So at any rate, so I went and bought C14 to NEMA 515 cables, and I just plugged those in, which is a violation of all of the things that you should ever do, because the PDU is 240 volt. You don't want to make people think that, oh, that's a 110, 115, plug something in and it'll explode. So I did this mostly because I wanted to do it right. But the thing you can't really see here, and I really wish I had taken a better shot, so I apologize. Maybe there's a better one. No, that's not a better one. Is the pigtail that comes out of the step down transformer is maybe 18 inches long. You basically have to stack these units on top of each other. There's just no other way around it. And if there was anything I'd complain about to Eaton, if the Eaton gods are listening to anything I have to say here, because I have invoked the name enough so far, it's that their cable length off the back of their units is just too damn short. Even the UPS itself, the cable that comes off the UPS is not even long enough to get from the bottom of my 42U rack. That's where this should have been installed, right? The bottom of my 42U rack to above it, right above it, where I have my connection to the mains. It's not long enough. It's not even 8 feet long. So I had to, it's roughly 6 feet, because this thing is up approximately 1.5 feet, 2 feet in the air. And that's ridiculous. I don't know why that is the decision, but that is the decision. I'm not watching the chat, and I'm thankful that Shadow's giving me a hard time because of all these outlets. You're just jealous that I have so many 110 volt outlets on this. I know. It's okay. Hey, some people have an hour's worth of battery runtime. Other people can plug in every outlet in their house. Whatever. Anyway, just super happy with the whole thing. I couldn't be... I'm glad it's over. I'm happy that I'm back to normal. You know, it wasn't a bad ordeal by any means, but the getting crushed in shipping and all that kind of stuff, that was a real bummer. And as an aside, I don't know if I told you guys the story of the step down transformer when I took it to the local computer recycling place, and the young man who was working there was like, "What's this thing?" And I'm like, "Well, it used to be a step down transformer, and it didn't make it in shipping. And when I picked it up, the top fell off, and the toroid, the big heavy thing that does the conversion of that power from super high voltage to a lower voltage, fell out." Because someone had said to me, and I just want to point this out, someone had said to me, "You should have plugged it in just to see what it did." Like, one, no, that's a lot of pixies. No, thank you. And two, it would have exploded. There's just no way around it. There was nothing that was partially connected in there. But anyway, I digress. That's about it. Like I said, in terms of YouTube stuff, just heads down, super busy with a bunch of stuff. I have all of my B-roll shot, everything I need for the to build this AI server, which I've been dragging my feet on. Summers are tough, guys. Summers are hard times with vacations and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, I digress. So let's get to some news. What do you say? Aragorn Strider said, "I just run my rack on 250 volt, more efficient, or 240 volt." Okay, he meant 240. Okay, it is more efficient. Shadow, it's coming. Shadow, you sure you don't work for Microtech? I think you do. I think you work for Microtech silent. You're just a silent partner working with them. Let's talk about the news. I want to start with something real interesting here. This showed up this afternoon. I'm going to read this to you for those who can't see it. This was a letter, and this letter showed up on Reddit. Of course, it showed up on Reddit just today. Reddit user, I'm going to ruin this guy's name, Trelfar, in the sysadmin subreddit, got a letter from Broadcom. His company had migrated away from Broadcom to something else. We don't know. He didn't specify where he went. He also didn't specify how big his company is or how large his infrastructure footprint was. So this might be that they're only doing this for something. But the letter says, quote, "I want to follow up regarding your previous VMware environment. Broadcom has recently authorized a dedicated win-back initiative with aggressive rock-bottom pricing and terms designed specifically to bring organizations like yours back. I have the direct sign-off to offer you rates significantly lower than anything you saw previously. Do you have 10 minutes this week to look at these updated incentives and see how much we can shave off your current operational costs? Rob Williams, account director, GovEd." So obviously this guy's probably a local municipality, not federal government. "VMware Cloud Foundation, Broadcom." I have so much. By the way, this is the actual subreddit. I didn't want to steal this thunder here from this, but like, boy, oh boy. Let's make this a discussion. Everybody in the audience here who's watching, however many there are, I'm not looking at the numbers here. What do you, groveling included, what do you guys think here? I'm trying not to think this is like a oh shit moment for Broadcom, because I don't know the motivations here. I genuinely don't know. Let's play this out, because I think that this is why I'm confused. Anybody who has undertaken a migration from one virtualization platform to another, like from VMware to Nutanix or XCP&G or Proxmox or even Hyper-V, wherever you're going, it doesn't matter. That is a significant amount of human effort. It's just a lot of work. I know, I just went through one recently, and it's a significant amount of work. So the fact that they would even offer an enticing thing to get people to come back confuses me, because it would imply that they don't understand the Herculean effort that someone goes through to get away from them in the first place, right? Yeah, so some random dude said they made it clear they don't care about you unless you spend a small fortune. And maybe they do care about these guys because they were spending a small fortune. Again, we don't know what their infrastructure looked like, how many virtual machines, what they were using, right? We just have what he said. His whole post was, like most other VMware shops, we dumped it and moved on due to the appalling way that Broadcom has treated both customers and resellers since the acquisition. So imagine my surprise when we got this email recently. He also continued on at the bottom to say, they must think we are complete idiots. Who in their right mind would ever trust VMware again after the last 2.5 years of price hikes, legal notices, and generally unmitigated bullshit they have heaped upon us? I mean, we all feel this way. We all feel this way. But is this a situation where they actually are, oopsie daisy, we really want you back, we're sorry, here's some super cheap deals? Or do you think, I mean, like, again, I am really struggling to try to find what their rationale, what their logic, what Broadcom's logic were. If there's any Broadcom employees that happen to just fall upon here, keep fighting the good fight. But also, I would love to know. I would genuinely love to know what this is about. Is there an actual directive inside of the organization? Or is this something like, where is this coming from? And is it just specific groups? Is it just government people like FedGov, like this, Gov Ed? I want to know. I genuinely want to know because it is a turnabout that I can't wrap my brain around. Because you do know, as an aside, even if somehow they were generous to you, like Xerxes in 300, I'm a generous God, right? If they actually do that thing where they give you a handout to get you back on, what do you think happens after that period, that contract period? You know that those numbers are going to go up again. There's no, I mean, we just know that's just the way this works. Broadcom is all about them stock numbers, baby. And the big number must go up. 2GT BK said, looks like someone might not meet their Q3 numbers. At a certain point, and by the way, if you saw the recap video I did of 2 years on with post Broadcom stuff video I made, there were a lot of people who really felt strongly that, I mean, a lot of people, a lion's share of the comments were like, you can't do this forever. Something's going to happen here, and they're going to, they'll fail. Like, I think a lot of people are betting that Broadcom will fail. I don't believe Broadcom will fail. I think that if Broadcom was going to fail, it was going to happen. And, I like seeing articles like, what was it? The big supermarket chain who said, we're leaving, taking our 11,000 VMs with us. I can't remember what it was. The chat will say what it is, but I'm just saying they're not going to go away. They've hooked their customers, the customers that they wanted. Tesco, thank you. So it's just, we live in interesting times. This timeline, guys, this timeline we're on is wild. It seems like every day you just got to wake up and like, what weird stuff is happening today? Well, this was this weird thing. I got a shout out to my friend John, who actually sent me this as a text message and was like, hey dude, you got to see this. And I was like, what? Some random dude said the money machine goes burr. She's also moving away. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to the next thing that I want to talk about because, all right. So before I click on this tab here and shift over to the next thing, I want to apologize in advance. And I genuinely mean this because I know that there's a fair bit of the 2GT audience and people in general who are fatigued about AI, who are tired of hearing it. I've been saying the letters all the time here, and I apologize. I don't want to scare anybody away, but this is something we got to talk about because it really is back to that. We live in interesting times. Our timeline is cursed. This is it. So there's a company, a Chinese technology company called Moonshot, and they make a model called Kimi. I'm going to stay to the general high level stuff here. Okay. Because this is, if you go with me on the story, it'll be less about AI for you and more about the wild world we live in. Kimi K3 is their most recent model. It just landed literally days ago. And what happens when you release a model, and they're hosting this model, right? So this is right now it's hosted, and their numbers are right up there with the frontier models. Like they are right there, right there. In some cases, they're blowing those models away. Like you can see this, like they're all over and they're doing incredible. Like anyway, go to Kimi.com and you can look at the details. But here's the thing, friends. Kimi, all the Kimis, including this one, are also available to download, assuming you have the hardware to run it. They're free to download and to use. These are open weight models that you can get. On the 27th of June, this model, which competes across the board with the frontier multi-billions of dollar models that are, the venture capital is pouring into, is available for free starting on the 27th of July. And you can download it, assuming you have the hardware to run it, big caveat there, and you can use it. And why this is a huge deal is because we've been talking about models and local models and what I call digital sovereignty and like just taking back and making sure that you can own the stuff. You remember when the US government went all bananas and was like, that's it. Anthropic can't release Fable 5. The baddies will use it and they will do bad things. We're going to use export control restrictions to shut it down. Pulled that model, forced Anthropic to pull that model away from the whole world because Anthropic is a US company. It has to adhere to those US restrictions. Kimi and Moonshot are a Chinese company that have no requirements to be controlled by the US government, and they are good enough to compete with the expensive, more costly models from the public providers. This is, we'll see. I don't want to play hyperbole on this one because that's not fair, but based on what I've been hearing and what I've been seeing, this is one of those situations where there's probably a bunch of, investors. There's a bunch of people who are just kind of quietly freaking out right now because they've dumped billions into OpenAI and Anthropic to make this work. And then the Chinese are just like, you can have this and you can run it. This model is a third of the cost to run, and it is free for you to download in a few days. And it's 4 times slower. We'll be honest here. So it is, they have it run. You can go play with it and test it out from them via their website, and their token speed is much slower. But if you can have this yourself, then the time it takes to generate stuff is less of a concern, right? So much so, and let's put this in perspective, like so much so that even the United States government is starting to kind of to crap their pants a little bit. And I'm just gonna call it like it is because I think it's important. I think this is more about protectionism than it is about cybersecurity. I don't think that, from what I've seen with a lot of the models out there, whether the free ones exist now or the fables and the mythoses, if you spend enough time with those models, you can make magic happen in terms of being the bad guy, finding the vulnerabilities in the software, in the source code, and doing bad stuff, right? So taking mythos and fable away, I think we're more of a political thing. But this right here, weighing the approach of banning models, like, it's just, once they make this free, once it's out, like on the 27th of June, once this is out, then the US can't control everything. And I'm really here for it. I love the drama. I'm here for this magic because I ultimately want to do this myself. I'm spending all this time with, yes, they're not in the server yet. They'll be in the server soon. I'm sure next thing I'm gonna have Shadow say to me is, are those GPUs installed and everything? They're almost installed and things. But like, I'm here for it. My entire ethos of my persona, what I care about most is locally hosting and doing this stuff myself. And damn it, seeing that I'll be able to, I don't know if I'll be able to run this. I don't know how big it is. It's a 2.8 trillion parameter model. 2.8 trillion parameters. I don't know how you even get that many knowledge points. I don't know how you do that. But so I will leave it at that. I just want to point out that we are about to head into very interesting times where thank you, Tom's Hardware. Please put another pop-up on my screen. I would love that. Watch this space. Even if you don't like AI or you're not an AI person, this is one of those deals that there's a potential disruption of economic proportions here. Insert word bubble, insert word AI. We could see some pretty cool or terrifying stuff happen. And I'm here for it. So, yeah, Antitux. Wait, you don't like that pop-up? Here's 3 more instead. All right. Let's move on to other interesting things. You guys probably saw the Gamers Nexus video. Steve did a great job just tearing into LG with their mandatory app that gets installed. And just to give you a rundown, certain premium monitors from LG that you buy, which I think I might have one. I need to go check on my wife's computer because her monitor died a while ago and I was like, I'm going to treat her to an OLED. She didn't even really care, but she's like, oh, that's nice. And I'm like, but it's perfectly black. And she's like, yeah, I don't care. I'm just going to play my Fallout. Anyway. So on certain, if you missed this news, on certain high quality or certain models of LG monitor, when you get them and you plug them into your computer, you also get, I'm assuming from Windows Update, the LG Monitor app gets installed and it brings along with it McAfee. And you don't get told, it just gets installed. And the thing that was the thing that really roiled people is that it started delivering advertisements. I'm pretty sure the ads were probably to pay for McAfee. Oh no, I'm not going to pay for this either. Come on, guys. I thought I had the right article. But anyway, long story short, can we just talk about a bit of the irony that it's not the cheap monitors. I mean, LG doesn't make a whole lot of cheap monitors, but it's not the average run of the mill monitors. It's like the super nice, 3-digit megahertz displays that are gaming monitors and OLED monitors. Like it's the stuff that people paid the big dollars for, and they're the ones that get delivered the ads. Antitux said, and I'm going to say it out loud, John McAfee died for your sins, sir. I don't know if John McAfee's actually dead, but John McAfee he's a crazy dude. He's a crazy dude. And Jason said, so glad I don't run Windows for my daily or gaming machine. That's true. There's an answer here, and it's Bazite, right? Is that the right one? Steam OS. You insert whatever gaming OS you want to use. Antitux is informing me that he is super dead, and I believe it. I try not to keep up on the comings and goings, or mostly goings, apparently, of John McAfee, because he. I don't mean to be. You shouldn't throw shade at dead people, but whatever. He was a nut job. I'm not gonna lie. He was a crazy dude. Shadow said, my 1K LG. I'm thinking it means $1,000 LG monitor doesn't give me ads on Linux. Just saying. Exactly. It's. I'm just surprised that LG would pull this, frankly. Like, really digging into it, I am not certain that LG really understands their user base. Man, I mean, actually, it's probably just, someone will throw out the word enshittification any minute. I'm waiting for it to show up in the chat. It could be enshittification, or it could just be like, we like money and we can make a little bit extra money if we just quietly insert this. Adware. We'll call it adware. Would you agree? It's not malware. No, it's a PUP, potentially unwanted program. That's what it is. It's not it's adware. It's a PUP, right? That's what I call it. Disagree with me in the chat if you want. But yeah, I thought that was. I have to, like I said, I got to go downstairs and check my wife's computer because she has one of those expensive OLED monitors and it's plugged into a Windows PC. So, but she hasn't said anything about any ads. So. Moving on, we got more and we're running out of time here. This is a fantastic thing. Waymo calls the cops on teen riders, raising privacy concerns. The TLDR on this story is a couple of teenagers get and rent a Waymo. They start drinking booze and they have, do you guys know what Orbeez are? I think they're called Orbeez, right? The little pellet, the water pellet things that you can shoot from guns. like the softer equivalent of an airsoft, right? They're like water based. Anyway, they get in this Waymo, they start drinking, they roll down the windows, and they're shooting at pedestrians with these water pellet Orbeez guns, right? Which do in fact look like real guns. Once that happens, the Waymo, there's cameras all over inside the cars. It's a driving smartphone for Christ's sake. So it calls back into the Waymo dispatch and says, "Hey," the car does not, and a human looks in there and goes, "Oh yeah, this is not legit." The Waymo car told the kids there was a problem with the car and it was going to take it to a safe place to stop. Meanwhile, they called the police, and in the middle of an intersection, the Waymo stopped and the police surrounded the car and pulled the kids out. And this article is also touching on the fact that, like, hey, do you know that there's machine learning and imaging going on? Because from the way it looks and based on conversations that I've had with Brandon when he found this article, it detected the gun. The toy gun. It was a toy gun. It wasn't a real gun, but it detected the gun, and that's what actually alerted. It wasn't the hoot and hollering that was happening in the car. But I'm like, I think that's okay. Am I wrong? I'm a huge proponent. My goodness. I'm the kind of person who really does like privacy and protecting one's privacy. It's important to me, but I feel like if you're gonna, it wasn't the alcohol. It was the gun. It was the gun that got. Can I say that? Am I going to get devalued on YouTube now for using the G word? But I'm a proponent of privacy, but I do think that there should be no expectation of privacy when you're in a smartphone on wheels and it's driving you from point A to point B. Part of me would want them to be continuously monitoring it because I'm afraid something bad's going to happen and there's not a driver in there. I want self-driving. I want a vehicle that can self-drive from point A to point B. I do want that technology, but paying for a service, I'd like that visibility. But nonetheless, these boys found out the hard way. The article goes on to talk about like ethical gray areas of like monitoring. And I'm like, just put a sticker on the side that says, if you're in this vehicle, you're being monitored, and just call it a day. I don't know. Looks like the chat's in agreement with me, which is good. But nonetheless, I'm just thankful that you can't get into a Waymo and shoot Orbeez out the window at people while drinking as a minor. Or as an adult. Let's be clear. I guess it doesn't really, the minor thing is more about them. I'm just saying in general. It does lead one last thing, and this is going to sound like such an old man thing regarding this. I'm an older dude now, right? I'm in my 40s. I'm not going to pretend like I'm some young spring chicken, but you know what this did make me think when I heard about it? And I imagine everyone else who's here is going to have the same opinion. You just can't do things anymore. Everything is being monitored everywhere you go. Now, again, common sense. I'm not advocating that what they were doing was appropriate at all, period, the end. I mean, they're just dumb kids. But we were all dumb kids once, and depending on your age, you used to be able to get away with a lot more dumb stuff, especially if you lived in a rural part of the United States or, whatever. Like, we all have stories, and we all know people who have stories of getting away with stuff that you should have never gotten away with. And I just feel kind of like, again, I'm okay with kids getting into trouble. This is not the kind of trouble I would advocate for. I'm not saying that they should have gotten away from it. I think that that's exactly what should happen. But to be clear, like, what if you rented that car and you were just getting frisky with somebody in the back seat? I mean, again, it's a Waymo, it's a smartphone on wheels. You probably shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that in a regular taxi anyway. But you just can't do it. So, Dai-Chan said, nah, no common sense. That only gets drilled into you if you actually have any threat of punishment. That's true. I think human beings, that's a great point. I'm going to riff just for a second on that. That's one thing that I think is genuinely missing is like, if you do get in trouble and you get punished for said trouble, then you learn the hard way that that's done. Now, a lot of people don't have to look at a situation like that and go, you know what? I don't believe that's a bad thing until I do it. I mean, there's should have a little bit of common sense in general. But again, notwithstanding this particular article, but I do think that there's something to be said about like getting your hand burned on a hot stove and going, you know what, that's a hot stove. I'm not gonna touch that. I don't know if this rises to an echelon above, a zenith, a level above it that doesn't fit with that. But nonetheless, kids can't get in trouble these days. Dave, you might want to edit that comment he made there. That was hilarious. There you go. All right. We got a few more here before we wrap up for the day. So let's talk about this. The FTC secures settlement with Deere and Company. John Deere. Why am I talking about this? Well, I'm going to tell you why I'm talking about this. John Deere has officially lost their defense of preventing people from fixing the tractors and the systems that they buy. This is a huge win for the fix it yourself, you own it whole campaign that's going on. And so the FTC has secured a settlement in the antitrust lawsuit against farm equipment maker Deere and Company, John Deere or Deere, now allowing farmers the right to repair their own John Deere tractors and farm equipment. Talking about things that are a cell phone, right? Obviously, the technology for farmers is high tech as hell. Like GPS done. They'll map out the perimeter of your fields, and then the system will decide the best route of travel for the most yield. Farm equipment, what they make these days in terms of increasing yields is incredible. Automation, incredible. All of that stuff, absolutely incredible. But the fact that you buy a multi-$100,000 piece of farm equipment that is a smartphone on wheels, smartphone in a field. We'll go with that. Smartphone in a field, and not being able to actually repair it when it breaks I hope that this is a massive, massive sea change for the rest of the world. Right to repair. Imagine if everything we bought that was technology. If our home labs, we had no right to repair. If we couldn't get access to firmware to update our lights out controllers and our RAID cards, because you don't have the right to do that. You have to have a license, pay for a subscription to get to it. HPE, you know what I'm talking about? That kind of stuff. This is a big deal, right? And it's a step in the right direction. They were, John Deere specifically, or Deere and Company, were one of the worst offenders. They're the Monsanto of right to repair. Did I do that right? Someone in the chat will correct me on that, but it's just amazing that happened. So in case you don't follow this stuff, this is finally something moving in the right direction. And that is really cool. Last thing we'll hit here before we go. And it's, this is another good one to talk about with you guys in the chat here. GeForce trading cards. Series 1 celebrates the generations of GeForce. You know what's better than not being able to buy a GPU and build a gaming computer in 2026? Getting some baseball cards with pictures of GPUs. That's the whole punchline. Long story short, they're celebrating, whatever NVIDIA is celebrating here. They're celebrating not being good stewards of consumers who want just to be able to make computers and play games. And so you can win a trading pack. You can't even go buy them. You have to be lucky enough to be selected in one of their giveaways to have this. It comes with NV1, a picture of the NV1, which was launched in 1995, the GeForce 256, which was the world's first GPU in 1999, GeForce 3, GeForce 7800 GTX. I had a 6800, not a 7800. A GeForce 10, Bubble Chameleon, and a Medusa classic real-time demos. But here's the deal. This is the question. Some random dude says GPUs the new pin-up models. Yeah, basically. Here's the thing. If you guys think that this is actually genuine, this feels so ham-fisted, so tone-deaf, because I don't know if NVIDIA cares. I don't think they care. Money is what they care about. I just feel like this is some marketing guys what we need to do? commemorative baseball cards, and we'll make them scarce by only giving them away at certain points. Like, these should be given away to everybody who owns a GPU, just as an I'm sorry you can't buy one. But I find this to be, wait, there are companies that aren't tone deaf? Yes, Shadow, there are companies that actually aren't tone deaf. I mean, I think that maybe that's what we should do sometime in the live shows. We should start rating companies' level of tone deaf on a scale, right? And decide, we'll start with the sector of like, we're GPU makers. Well, the fact that these exist and the fact that they're just like, hey, this is cool, and we're going to give them away to select people. I would never, if these were offered to buy, I would never buy them unless I was trying to speculate and sell them just like GPUs. Man, I just made myself feel sad. Anyway, so this, I feel like this is just tone deaf, and I feel like it's like, I'll be going to Penny Arcade Expo in Seattle this summer with family, because we do that every year, and I highly doubt that NVIDIA will be there, because NVIDIA is no longer going to gaming conventions, because why would they? They don't have any GPUs for you to buy anyway, and there's a whole lot of animosity. But I could imagine somebody trying to give these away. I was like, this is a really great thing. Like, nah, this is an insult. It's an insult. That's all I gotta say. But tone deaf, on brand for NVIDIA. 100%, Aragorn. That's 100%. All right, Brandon, let's bring it back. We'll give this a closeout. So, I enjoyed hanging out with you guys. I hope you enjoyed it too. Lots of news. Not a whole lot of, I showed you the Eaton up my space, but anyway, the thing I like to do when I close out here is to say that, we have a Discord community. It's totally free. It's not paywalled. And in a little bit here, after I shut all of this stuff down, I will walk it over to my desk and plug it all back in. And, we'll get in the chat and hang out, and it's a great time to hang out in our after hours show. So, relax, guy, take a rest. NVIDIA. Exactly. So, friends, if it's hot where you are, stay cool, stay hydrated. If it's smoky where you are, don't go outside. Stay safe. And as always, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching. See you then.